So breaking the Marvels release date, moving up. Let's see what everything always has to say about this, and check this out. See what it's all about and check it out.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka Allfires. Every single day, I hope for something positive to be reported about what's going on with the strikes, and there was a glimmer of hope earlier this week, or should I say last week, when it was reported that the studios and the writers might be coming to the table to try to negotiate again. But in the fallout from that meeting, which never happened, it appears as though the studios are hell-bent on just shooting themselves in the foot and making it worse. They actually released their offers to the writers thinking that that would somehow put some sort of pressure on them, and quite the opposite happened. It just galvanized them more. So while this appears to be getting much worse before it gets any better, we are now hitting that critical point where studios will have to really start considering whether or not they want to release the current films they have coming up. And not because they can't finish them. Most of this stuff has been picture locked and set to release for quite some time, but in the wake of this, they just don't want to put these movies out without the actors being able to promote them. The first of which may appear to be Dune, as it was reported via Deadline, leading to the second report by Deadline that the Marvels might actually get an earlier release date. We're going to talk about how one is tied to the other, what might end up happening here. Yes, the Marvels might end up getting released earlier in the glimmer of what's the only positive announcement we've had during these strikes. We're also going to talk about what the real likelihood is the Marvels doesn't come out at all, and where we can expect some of these updates to come, and maybe right around the corner. We're breaking down the latest chess pieces and how it relates to Marvel Studios' next theatrical release. But first, I want to tell you about my friends, comicbookdirect.com. Guys, I've been telling you about comicbookdirect.com for months now, and let me tell you, it has absolutely transformed the way that I'm reading comics. Part of the huge problem with not being able to keep up with runs is that you gotta go to the comic store to do it, and for a lot of us, we are so busy that it's just not an option. Well, now it's easier than ever to connect with the comics you want, and they really have everything from mangas and collectibles, anything you need for your comic book fandom. The best part about it is you can get one book if you want, but you can also go ahead and subscribe to a run to be able to keep up with the story. You even get more if you pay up front, or you can simply pay as you go. Either way. And for a limited time, the next 100 viewers who use the link down in the description are going to get 20% off of all future orders. Again, that's comicbookdirect.com. Use the link down in the description, and for the first 100 viewers that sign up, you'll get 20% off. Okay, so this was breaking late as of yesterday with speculation on how the dominoes may fall to affect the Marvels actually getting moved up in release. This is via Deadline. Dune Part 2 moved to 2024, where they go on to report, quote, "In what was to be expected, Legendary Entertainment and Warner Brothers' anticipated sequel, Dune Part 2, from Denis Villeneuve is moving from its November 3rd theatrical release to March 15th, 2024, due to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike. The sequel, based on the Frank Herbert novel, also will play in IMAX on its new date. Don't be surprised if Dune Part 2 fires off either at the Berlin Film Festival or in South by Southwest in late winter or early spring." Meanwhile, despite the rumors out there about Warner Brothers' further shakeup in its December release schedule due to the strike, the studio's lineup through the end of the year is sticking to its current dates, which again bodes well for the Marvels. They then go on to say much later in the article, quote, "What happens now that Dune Part 2 is out of 2023? Many were expecting a seismic shift in tentpoles out of 2023, but we hear it's not the case. It's possible that Disney Marvel Studios' sequel, The Marvels, currently dated for November 10th, could move up to November 3rd and take advantage of the availability of IMAX screens that are being left behind by Dune Part 2. Moving up the Marvels would also give it a longer playtime on a large format screen before Lionsgate prequel to The Hunger Games, The Ballad of the Songbirds, and Snakes arrives on November 17th. Sony's Marvel franchise starter, Kraven the Hunter, moved off its weekend in October due to the SAG-AFTRA strike and hiked to Labor Day 2024. However, insiders indicate The Marvels is sticking to its current date, which is an awesome update, because what it means either way is while there is an opportunity for them to move it up to November 3rd, which really would only be a week early, and while that's exciting, doesn't really change the release window, that the industry insiders are still saying, hey, look, Marvel Studios is going to release the Marvels this November, regardless of the rumors we've heard they may move it, which is really shocking to me. I mean, it's par for the course for Marvel to use their actors and lead actors when they're tied to these characters, the personalities to promote the films, and honestly, I just will feel really bad for Iman Vellani if for her first major motion picture, she doesn't get to be a part of a red carpet and all that entails, because it's really fun for her, but it doesn't mean it's going to be her last opportunity anyway. And while ultimately signs haven't pointed this way, if there's any optimism left, November's still many months off, and in fact, leaving it in its current date and not moving it up actually gives it more time for the strikes to be resolved, so there can be a red carpet, even if it's the night before, which Marvel has done in the past for the record. Now, I think it's worth mentioning in the paragraph we read right after the prologue where they talked about a lot of people expecting the tentpole underpinnings of studios, what they're referring to is their major releases just to withhold them and put them out next year, like we saw with Sony and Craven and other studios have done now, like Warner Brothers with Dune. And that's because these studios will have nothing to put out because they're now starting to hit that critical point where productions from this year will be stopped. And ultimately for the actors and writers who apparently are saying that these offerings from the studios are as if they haven't had any talks at all. That was a direct quote from the writers referring to what the most recent studio's offering was. And so just reading the tea leaves from what they're trying to do, it may be an issue where the actors and the writers have to make the studio feel the effects of having no productions. And unfortunately, because of the long timelines that these major studios work on and withholding these major movies to next year, that is quite a far way away. So we won't see the ultimate ramifications of nothing being made until a year from now if all the studios were to move their stuff from this year. I'm just surprised Marvel would be willing to release the Marvels and without the promotion of the actors. Both Larson and Paris have been in the MCU for quite a long time now, and again, not having Iman Vellani there would really feel like a letdown for the film's promotion. That being said, my ultimate point is that if the actors and the writers' goal is to have to starve them out, basically, let them be left with no content to put out, for them to come back to the table, then we're a long way from that. So it's great that these studios, including Marvel, are continuing to put out the content that they've got and not sandbagging it. If they move the Marvels to May of next year, it's just that much longer. They don't have to come back to the table and negotiate in good faith. Speaking of which, and moving the Marvels, if they were going to do that, you'd assume that the point to which they have to announce that and then move it theatrically is coming up on us rather fast. And we know we reported that the destination Disney Plus does not have an official Marvel Studios panel of any kind coming up here in September, but it doesn't mean that they won't be showing some snippets and or previewing future theatrical releases, meaning if there would be an announcement of any kind, either to move it to May of next year, keep it in its same release date, maybe even show a new snippet or official clip, or move it up to take advantage of those IMAX theaters, which again, I know the industry insiders are saying sticking to its date, but it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and get those IMAX spots. People like seeing Marvel movies in IMAX. It's essentially the same too, right? Only being a week earlier. But the D23 event or around there may be the time they announce that, given the amount of attention and press they're getting. And again, that's only right around the corner, the beginning of September, only a couple of weeks away. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, as always, how hyped you are for the film, if you even care about seeing it in IMAX, and if you will be going to see this movie opening weekend. I know I obviously definitely will. Let me know all your thoughts quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we are still giving away PlayStations at the channel. The next one is with Loki's finale. It's right around the corner. All you got to do to be entered to win, be a sub, leave a comment on this video. Best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button. My name is Michael Roman. Find me on Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. Appreciate it, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.
Subscribe, like this video, and have a great night. Please like this video, and see you guys. Bye.